Finally, Friday morning here on Street Signs, take a look at shares of Hyundai and also POSCO up in Seoul, going in opposite directions. Hyundai Motor, the big car maker, up 0.6%. POSCO, though, not doing so well, down close to 4%, both disappointing on the earnings front. A strong local currency, the Korean won, and also a slowing Chinese economy. A big market for Korean exports could be the culprits, as Yoon has been finding out. June.
Hi, Martin. That's right. Kia Motors, Hyundai Motors, and POSCO are the main themes in the Korean markets today. Kia Motors just reported third quarter earnings an hour ago this morning. Its operating profit was also down 18%, and net earnings down 27%, similar to what Hyundai Motors reported yesterday after market close. Again, Martin, like you said, unfavorable FX rates were one of the biggest reasons for these numbers. If you look at the sales, though, Kia sales were actually up 13% during the third quarter, but it was the Korean won against the dollar, Korean won against the weak yen. These were the main factors in these numbers. Hyundai Motors, again, the stock is trading higher today for the second straight day. This is coming from news that is considering raising its dividend by a pretty big measure, and also it is considering an interim dividend, according to President Lee Won-hee. This is again seen to be coming after the stock dropped more than 25% after the $10 billion KEPCO land deal that was signed on the 18th of last month. So I guess this is kind of in a way to appease investors that may not be very happy with the stock drop in the past month. Looking ahead into the fourth quarter, Hyundai and Kia are saying that fourth quarter is expected to show an improvement. Analysts are also telling me that if the $1 stays around the levels that they're seeing now, should be okay. And also POSCO operating profit is up 39%, net income down 60%. So we're seeing a pretty big mixed picture for this name, also trading down quite a bit at the moment. Back to you.
Okay, all right, thank you so much for that. Well, it is time now for Trading Block. We've got Adam joining us today. And Adam, you've been looking at any broker calls on POSCO.
That's right, we got one from Daiwa Capital Markets and actually still have an outperform rating on the stock, largely because of the restructuring efforts at the steel giant. In fact, underpinning that bullish call, they say that the company's announcement back in May to actually restructure some of its non-core assets that are not related directly to its core business, the steel business. They're going to be actually selling some of these assets, these businesses. They've already done so, in fact, one of them, and have announced another 3. And so they are value accretion sort of moves that could benefit the shareholders. So that's why they're keeping the outperform rating. But they have cut the target price because they were not enamored with the net profit numbers. The company suffering actually from, the depreciation of the Korean won versus the US dollar. Remember, it's a capital-intensive business, and also the importation of a key raw material, that'd be iron ore, is going to make it a lot more expensive for the steel giant. And even though they're expecting, of course, those margins to remain relatively healthy, it's all about the Korean won dynamic there. So they are cutting the target price as a result of pruning the EPS for the next 3 years, by the way, by 11.6%. Moving on to China Unicom, they're also out with numbers yesterday, and actually the analysts were fairly impressed by them, particularly because of the cost-cutting initiative at the telco giant. In fact, Q3 numbers impressed because of a drop in 23% in operating expenditures there. What they didn't like about the company was the fact that they're losing a bit of market share to China Mobile, particularly, get this, at the high end of the customer base, largely because of the dynamic of 4G rolling out for China Mobile. Martin and Nora, in fact, China Mobile, the first out of the gates with 4G LTE, and as a result of that, China Unicom suffering a little bit from that trend shift.
Gotcha. All right. Thanks a lot, Adam Bach here. Coming up on the show, we've talked about MSFT and also Amazon. We also have some big old economy companies beating the street. The names when we come right back.